Kevin Park lived alone in the mountains of Montana. He was 32 years old. He had served in the Marines for 8 years before coming home. Now he fixed cars and trucks for the people in the small town 20 miles away. He liked the quiet life. He liked the peace. The cabin he lived in was old but strong. His grandfather had built it with his own hands. On that October night, Kevin sat on his porch with a cup of coffee. The sky was clear and full of stars. He often looked at them and wondered if anyone was looking back. He never expected to find out. The light came first. A bright streak across the sky, brighter than any shooting star. Kevin stood up and watched it fall. It was not burning up like a meteor. It was slowing down. It was trying to land. The crash shook the ground. Kevin felt it through his boots. A cloud of dust and fire rose from the mountain about 2 miles away. He stood there for a long moment, thinking. Then he went inside, grabbed his rifle, a flashlight, and his first aid kit. He did not know what he would find, but he knew he had to look. The walk took him almost an hour. The forest was dark and thick. When he finally reached the crash site, he stopped and stared. It was not a plane. It was not a satellite. It was something he had never seen before. The ship was shaped like a curved blade, silver and black. Parts of it were burning. Parts of it were broken open. Kevin moved closer, slow and careful. He kept his rifle ready. He did not know what might come out of that thing. Then he heard it. A sound, weak and soft. Someone was crying. He found her inside the wreckage. She was trapped under a piece of metal. Her skin was pale blue, almost like ice. Her hair was white as snow. She had 2 small marks on her forehead that looked like they might glow. She was hurt. Blood, darker than human blood, ran down her arm. She saw him, and her eyes went wide with fear. She tried to move away, but could not. She spoke words he did not understand. Her voice was shaking. Kevin put down his rifle. He held up his hands to show he meant no harm. He spoke softly, the way he would speak to a scared animal. He did not know if she could understand him, but he hoped his tone would help. He moved to the metal piece that trapped her. It was heavy, very heavy. He pushed with all his strength. His muscles burned. His back screamed. But slowly, inch by inch, he lifted it enough for her to pull herself free. She crawled away from the wreckage and collapsed on the ground. Kevin knelt beside her and looked at her wounds. The cut on her arm was deep. She had burns on her side. She was breathing fast and shallow. Kevin opened his first aid kit. He cleaned the wound as best he could. He wrapped it with bandages. She watched him the whole time. Her fear slowly turned to confusion. She did not understand why he was helping her. When he finished, Kevin pointed to himself. "Kevin," he said slowly. Then he pointed at her. She understood. "Yuna," she whispered. Her voice was beautiful, like music. "I am Princess Yuna of the Valorian Empire." Kevin did not know what the Valorian Empire was. He did not care. All he saw was a young woman who was hurt and scared and far from home. He helped her stand. She leaned against him, too weak to walk on her own. Together, they made their way through the dark forest. It took them nearly 2 hours to reach his cabin. By the time they arrived, Yuna was barely conscious. Kevin laid her on his bed. He covered her with blankets. He boiled water and made soup, though he did not know if she could eat human food. He sat beside her through the night, checking her wounds, making sure she was still breathing. When morning came, Yuna woke. She looked around the cabin with wonder. Everything was strange to her. The wooden walls, the fire in the stone fireplace, the simple furniture. Her people lived in palaces of crystal and light. This place was rough and basic, but it was warm. and she was safe. Kevin brought her a bowl of soup. She tasted it carefully, then ate it all. It was the first time she had smiled since the crash. Over the next few days, Yuna grew stronger. She told Kevin about herself, speaking slowly so he could understand. She was the daughter of the Empress. She had been traveling to a meeting with other leaders when pirates attacked her ship. Her guards died protecting her. She escaped in a small pod, but it was damaged. She crashed here, on this planet her people called Earth. Kevin listened to everything. He did not fully understand all of it. Empires, aliens, spaceships. It was like something from a movie. But he believed her. How could he not? She was living proof. Yuna asked him why he helped her. In her experience, when her kind met lesser species, those species either ran away in fear or tried to capture them for money. Kevin had done neither. He had risked his life to save a stranger. Kevin thought about the question. Then he shrugged. You needed help, he said simply. That is all that matters. Yuna stared at him. In her 800 years of life, she had met thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds. She had never met anyone like this human. On the 5th day, Yuna was strong enough to walk outside. Kevin showed her the mountains, the forest, the stream that ran behind his cabin. She thought it was beautiful in a wild and simple way. That night, she managed to fix a small device from her ship. A signal beacon. She sent a message to her people, telling them where she was. Help would come. But she did not know when. She told Kevin this with worry in her eyes. The signal will reach my people, she said. But it might also reach others. The pirates who attacked me. They might come first. Kevin looked at her. Then he looked at his rifle hanging on the wall. Then we will be ready, he said. Yuna shook her head. You do not understand. They are not like me. They are killers. They have weapons you cannot imagine. You should run. Leave me here. Save yourself. Kevin smiled, but there was no humor in it. I do not run, he said. And I do not leave people behind. Whatever comes, we face it together. Yuna did not know what to say, so she said nothing. She just looked at this strange human and wondered what kind of world could create someone like him. Outside, the stars shone cold and bright. Somewhere up there, ships were already changing course. Racing toward Earth, racing toward her. The storm was coming. The pirates came on the 7th day. Kevin saw their ship first. It was ugly and dark, nothing like the beautiful craft Yuna had arrived in. It landed in the valley below his cabin, crushing trees beneath it. Kevin counted the figures that came out. 23 of them. They were tall and covered in rough gray skin. They carried weapons that glowed with strange light. Their leader was the biggest of them all. He had scars across his face and wore armor made of black metal. Yuna watched from the window. Her face was pale. That is Theron, she whispered. He is the one who attacked my ship. He killed my guards. He is a monster. Kevin loaded his rifle. He checked his pistol. He had been preparing for days. He had set traps in the forest. He had hidden supplies in different locations. He knew this land better than anyone. It was his only advantage. Stay inside, he told Yuna. No matter what happens, stay hidden. Theron's voice echoed across the valley. He spoke in a language Kevin did not understand, but a device on his armor translated his words. Human, I know you have the princess. Give her to me, and I will let you live. Refuse, and I will burn your world to ash. Kevin stepped onto his porch. He raised his rifle and fired. The bullet hit one of the pirates in the chest. The alien fell and did not move. For a moment, everyone was silent. They had not expected this. They had not expected a primitive human to fight back. Then Theron roared with anger, and the pirates charged. Kevin moved. He ran into the forest he knew so well. Behind him, energy blasts burned the trees. The pirates followed, but they did not know this land. Kevin did thought the first trap was simple. A pit covered with leaves. 2 pirates fell in, and the wooden spikes at the bottom killed them. Kevin did not stop to look. He kept moving. He climbed a tree and waited. When 3 pirates passed below, he dropped down on one and broke his neck. He shot another before the third could react. The third one managed to fire his weapon, but the blast went wide. Kevin killed him with his knife. 6 down. 17 to go. The fight lasted 3 days. 3 days of running and hiding and killing. 3 days without sleep. Kevin used everything he had learned in the Marines. He used the river to hide his scent. He used the cold nights to his advantage, knowing the aliens did not handle the temperature well. He set fires to confuse them. He attacked and disappeared like a ghost. The pirates grew afraid. They had conquered worlds. They had killed thousands. But this one human was hunting them in the darkness. They started to see him in every shadow. They jumped at every sound. On the second night, Kevin attacked their ship. He used explosives he had made from supplies in his cabin. The blast destroyed their engines. They could not leave now. They could not call for help. They were trapped with him. Theron was furious. He gathered his remaining soldiers, only 8 now, and led them toward the cabin. If he could not find the human, he would take the princess and use her as bait. But Kevin was waiting for them. He had circled back. He was behind them now. One by one, he picked them off. A shot from the darkness. A knife in the back. A trap that crushed bones. The pirates screamed and fired blindly into the forest, but they hit nothing. By the morning of the 3rd day, only Theron was left. The pirate lord stood in the clearing before Kevin's cabin. His armor was damaged. His soldiers were dead. He held a massive blade that crackled with energy. Kevin walked out to meet him. He was exhausted. He had a wound in his side that was still bleeding. His left arm was burned from a near miss. But he stood straight and held his rifle steady. "You killed my men," Theron growled. "You are just a human. A weak, primitive creature. How is this possible?" Kevin did not answer. He raised his rifle and fired. The bullet hit Theron's armor and bounced off. The pirate laughed. "Your weapons cannot hurt me, human. My armor has stopped blasts from warships. You have no chance." Kevin smiled. It was a cold smile. A dangerous smile. "I was not aiming at your armor." Theron looked down. The bullet had hit the power unit on his belt. Sparks flew. The armor systems began to fail. The energy in his blade flickered and died. Kevin charged. He hit Theron with everything he had. They fought in the snow, trading blows that would kill normal men. Theron was stronger. Theron was bigger. But Kevin was faster. And Kevin would not stop. The fight ended when Kevin drove his knife into the gap between Theron's helmet and his chest plate. The blade went deep. Theron made a choking sound. He grabbed Kevin's throat, squeezing with terrible strength. Kevin's vision began to fade, but he did not let go of the knife. He twisted it. Theron fell. His grip loosened. He crashed into the snow and did not move again. Kevin collapsed beside him. The world was spinning. He was losing too much blood. He could hear someone calling his name, but it seemed very far away. Una ran from the cabin. She had watched the final fight from the window. Now she fell to her knees beside Kevin and pulled his head into her lap. Tears ran down her blue cheeks. "Why?" she cried. "Why did you do this? You could have run. You could have lived." Kevin looked up at her. His eyes were tired but peaceful. "I made you a promise," he whispered. "I do not break promises." Una held him tighter. She screamed at the sky. begging her people to hurry. As if in answer, lights appeared above the clouds. Ships. Many ships. They descended through the atmosphere, their hulls shining like silver. They bore the mark of the Valorian Empire. Help had finally arrived. But as Yuna looked down at Kevin's pale face, she did not know if it had arrived in time. She pressed her hand against his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. She whispered words in her own language, prayers, promises, things she had never said to anyone before. The ships landed around them. Soldiers in gleaming armor rushed forward. Medics with strange tools surrounded Kevin and lifted him onto a stretcher. Yuna followed, refusing to leave his side. In her hundreds of years of life, Yuna had seen many brave beings, warriors, heroes, legends. None of them compared to this simple human from a small planet no one had heard of. He had protected her. Now it was her turn to protect him. Kevin opened his eyes slowly. The light was strange, soft and blue. He was lying on something that felt like a cloud. The pain in his side was gone. The burns on his arm had disappeared. He sat up and looked around. He was in a room made of white metal and crystal. There were no windows, but the walls themselves seemed to glow. Machines he did not understand hummed quietly around him. Tubes connected to his arm carried glowing liquid into his blood. "You are awake." Kevin turned. Yuna stood in the doorway. She looked different now. Her wounds were healed. She wore a long dress made of silver fabric that shimmered when she moved. A thin crown rested on her white hair. She looked like what she was, a princess, but her eyes were the same, warm and worried and fixed on him. "How long?" Kevin asked. His voice was rough. 7 days. Your injuries were severe. Our doctors say any normal human would have died. But you are not normal, Kevin Park. She walked to his side and sat in a chair beside his bed. She took his hand gently. Her skin was cool against his. "Where am I?" "You are on my ship, the flagship of the Imperial Fleet. We are traveling to my home world, to the capital of the Valorian Empire." Kevin looked at her. "I need to go home, Yuna. I have a life on Earth. People depend on me." Yuna's face became sad. "I know, and I'm sorry. But it is not that simple anymore." She explained everything. When the rescue ships arrived and found what Kevin had done, the news spread quickly. A single human had killed 23 pirates, including the infamous Theron. He had done it with primitive weapons and nothing but courage. The story traveled across the empire in days. Kevin Park became famous before he even woke up. But fame brought problems. The intelligence division wanted to study him. They wanted to understand how a human could do what he did. Some admirals wanted to recruit him. Some politicians saw him as a threat to the empire's pride. How could they claim to be the most powerful civilization in the galaxy when a primitive human outfought their greatest enemies? And then there was the matter of the life debt. "In my culture, when someone saves your life, you owe them a debt," Yuna explained. "Not money, not goods, something deeper. I am bound to you now, Kevin, by ancient law. Until I repay what you have given me, I cannot be free of this bond." Kevin shook his head. "I do not want anything from you. I helped you because it was the right thing to do, not for payment." Yuna smiled, but there was pain in it. "That is what makes you different. That is what makes this so hard." In the days that followed, Kevin learned about life on a Valorian ship. It was like a floating city. Thousands of crew members worked in perfect order. The technology was beyond anything he could have imagined. Doors that opened with a thought. Food that appeared from machines. Walls that could become windows showing the stars outside. Yuna stayed by his side. She showed him everything. She introduced him to officers and scientists who looked at him with wonder. She taught him words in her language, She listened to his stories about Earth, about Montana, about his grandfather who built the cabin with his own hands. Kevin noticed how others reacted to her presence with him. Some were surprised. Some were angry. Some whispered behind their hands. He did not understand why until an officer named Commander Hana explained. "The princess has never shown such interest in anyone," Hana said. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and a serious face. "In 800 years, she has never taken a companion, never shown her heart. The court is confused. Some say she is acting beneath her station." Kevin frowned. "I am not her companion. I am just a man who helped her." Hannah looked at him with something like pity. "You may believe that. I do not think the princess does." Kevin thought about those words often. He watched Yuna when she did not know he was looking. He saw how she smiled when they talked. He saw how she touched his arm when she wanted his attention. He saw how her eyes followed him across every room. He felt something too. Something he did not want to name. She was beautiful and kind and braver than she knew. But she was a princess of an empire that ruled 1,000 worlds. And he was just a mechanic from Montana. Whatever was growing between them could not end well. 2 weeks after he woke up, the ship arrived at the capital world. Kevin stood at the viewing window and stared. The planet was covered in shining cities. Ships moved through the sky like fish in water. A massive palace floated above the clouds, held up by technology that looked like magic. "My home," Yuna said beside him. "The heart of the empire." Kevin did not know what to say. He had never felt so small. That night, Yuna came to his room. She looked nervous. Her hands kept moving, touching her dress, her hair, the edge of the door. "My mother wishes to meet you," she said. "The sovereign, the empress of all Valorians. She has heard the stories. She wants to see the human who saved her daughter." Kevin felt cold fear in his chest. What happens if she does not like me? Yuna did not answer right away. That silence told him everything. "I will be there with you," she finally said. "I will not let anything happen to you. You protected me. Now I will protect you." Kevin looked at this woman who was not human, who lived among the stars, who was older than his entire nation. And he saw the same thing he had seen in her eyes on that first night in the crash ship. Fear, hope, trust. He nodded. "Okay, let us go meet your mother." Yuna smiled. For a moment, she was not a princess or an alien or a mystery. She was just a woman happy that someone believed in her. She took his hand. Together, they walked toward the throne room of the most powerful being in the galaxy. The throne room was larger than any building Kevin had ever seen. The ceiling rose so high it disappeared into golden light. Pillars of crystal lined the walls, each one carved with stories of ancient victories. Thousands of nobles and officials stood in perfect rows, dressed in clothes that cost more than Kevin would earn in 10 lifetimes. At the end of the hall, on a throne that seemed to be made of frozen starlight, sat the Empress. Nari was her name. Yuna had told him. She had ruled the empire for over 3,000 years. She had conquered worlds. She had ended wars. She had watched civilizations rise and fall. And now she was looking at Kevin Park, a mechanic from Montana. Kevin walked forward. His boots echoed on the crystal floor. Every eye in the room was fixed on him. He could feel their judgment, their curiosity, their disbelief that this simple creature had done what the stories claimed. Yuna walked beside him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. Kevin was grateful for her presence. Without her, he might have turned and run. They stopped at the base of the throne. Kevin did not know what to do. Should he bow? Kneel? He had never met royalty before. He had never met an alien before last month. Now he was doing both at once. He decided to stand straight and meet the Empress's eyes. If he was going to die here, He would die with his back straight. Now I studied him for a long moment. She was beautiful in a way that was almost frightening. Her face was ageless. Her white hair flowed like water. Her eyes were the same color as Yuna's, but colder, harder. Eyes that had seen everything and feared nothing. When she spoke, her voice filled the entire hall without effort. So this is the human? No one else spoke. No one even breathed loudly. I stood from her throne and descended the steps toward him. She moved with grace that made every step look like a dance. She stopped an arm's length from Kevin and looked at him the way a scientist looks at an interesting bug. I have read the reports, she said. I have seen the recordings from my daughter's beacon. You killed Theron. You killed his entire crew. You did this with weapons my soldiers would consider toys. Kevin said nothing. He did not know if he was supposed to respond. The Empress circled him slowly. I have lived for 3,000 years. I have met warriors from every corner of the galaxy. Champions, legends, beings who could destroy cities with their bare hands. She stopped in front of him again. None of them impress me. The court murmured. This did not sound like praise. Nari leaned closer. Her eyes searched his face. Tell me, human, why? Kevin understood the question. It was the same question Yuna had asked him in the cabin. It was the question everyone wanted answered. He thought about lying. He thought about saying something clever or noble. But he was too tired for games. So he told the truth. Because she was scared and alone. Because I could help. Because where I come from, that is what you do. The murmuring in the court grew louder. Some nobles looked offended. Others looked confused. The idea that someone would risk everything for a stranger without expecting reward was strange to them. Nari's expression did not change. You expect me to believe you wanted nothing? No gold? No power? No fame? I did not know who she was, Kevin said. I did not know about your empire or your riches. I saw a wounded person who needed help. I helped. That is all. And if she had been a common person? Not a princess? Not valuable? Kevin felt a spark of anger. Then I would have done the same thing. A person's worth is not measured by their title. The court fell silent. No one spoke to the Empress this way. No one challenged her. Several guards reached for their weapons, but Nari held up her hand. The guards stopped, and then something strange happened. Something no one in that room had ever seen before. The Empress smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but it was real. Interesting, she said softly. Most interesting. She turned to look at her daughter. Yuna had been standing quietly, her hands clasped together, her face tight with worry. Mother and daughter looked at each other for a long moment. You were there, Nari said. You saw everything. What do you say about this human? Yuna stepped forward. Her voice was steady, but Kevin could see her hands shaking slightly. He saved my life, Your Majesty. He fought for me when he had every reason to run. He nearly died for me, and he asked for nothing in return. Many have saved royal lives before. That alone does not make him special. Yuna lifted her chin. Her eyes met her mother's without flinching, and when she spoke, her voice carried across the entire hall. He protected me, Mom. The word hung in the air. Mom, not Majesty, not Sovereign, not Empress. Just Mom. The court gasped. Some nobles looked horrified. This was not proper. This was not how one addressed the ruler of 1,000 worlds. But Kevin saw something change in the Empress's face. The cold mask cracked. Just for a moment. Just enough to show the woman beneath the crown. The mother beneath the title. Nari turned back to Kevin. She looked at him differently now. Not as a curiosity or a puzzle. As a person. My daughter has not called me that in 400 years. she said quietly. She has not shown emotion like this since she was a child. You have changed something in her. I do not know if I should thank you or hate you for it. Kevin did not know what to say, so he said nothing. The Empress was silent for a long moment. Then she did something that made the entire court cry out in shock. She bowed her head to Kevin Park. Not a small nod. A real bow. The kind she gave to no one. The kind no Empress had given to anyone in 300 years. Thank you, she said, for saving my daughter. For reminding her that she has a heart. For reminding me that the galaxy still holds wonders I have not seen. Kevin felt his own eyes burn. He did not cry, but it was close. You are welcome, he managed to say. Nari straightened and turned to face her court. Her voice rang out with all the power of her position. Let it be known throughout the Empire. Kevin Park of Earth is a friend of the throne. Any who harm him will answer to me personally. The court bowed as one. Whatever they thought privately, they knew better than to argue. Nari looked at Kevin one last time. We will speak more. You and I, there is much I want to understand about your people. But for now, rest. Celebrate. You have earned it. She returned to her throne. The audience was over. Kevin stood in the center of that vast hall, surrounded by beings from across the galaxy, and felt more alone than ever. Then a cool hand slipped into his. Yuna stood beside him. Her eyes bright with tears she would not let fall. You did it, she whispered. You impressed her. That never happens. Kevin squeezed her hand. I just told the truth. Yuna smiled. I know. That is what made it work. Together, they walked out of the throne room. Behind them, the court buzzed with whispers and speculation. The story of the human would spread even further now. It would become legend. But Kevin did not care about legends. He cared about the woman beside him, and the strange new world he had fallen into. And somewhere in his heart, he knew the hardest part was still to come. 3 days after the audience, the Empress summoned Kevin to her private chambers. The room was smaller than he expected. There were books on the shelves. Real books made of paper. There were paintings on the walls showing planets and stars and faces Kevin did not recognize. It looked almost like a human home. Almost. Nar. I sat in a simple chair by a window that showed the clouds below the floating palace. She looked tired, older. Without her crown and royal robes, she could have been anyone's grandmother. She gestured for Kevin to sit across from her. He did. I have thought about what to do with you, she said. You have become a problem, Kevin Park. A good problem, but a problem still. Kevin waited. Half my court wants to honor you. They want to give you lands, titles, a position in my military. You would be rich beyond imagination. You would have power that few humans have ever held. And the other half? Nari's mouth curved slightly. They want you gone. Some because they fear what you represent. Some because they are jealous. Some because they think a human should not stand as equal to our kind. I do not want to stand as equal to anyone, Kevin said. I just want to go home. The Empress studied him. Home. Your little cabin in the mountains. Your simple life. You would give up everything I could offer for that? Yes. Why? Kevin thought about the question. He thought about Montana, about the stream behind his cabin, about the smell of the forest after rain, about the stars at night, so bright and clear. Because it is mine, he said finally. I built that life with my own hands. I know who I am there. Here, I am a story, a symbol, a problem to solve. There, I am just Kevin. That is enough for me. Nari was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than before. I have lived for 3,000 years. I have ruled this empire for most of that time. I have everything anyone could want. Power, wealth, immortality, and yet I cannot remember the last time I felt content. The last time I felt at peace. She looked out the window at the clouds. You are a strange creature, Kevin Park. You have something my entire empire cannot give me. And you found it in a cabin in the mountains. She stood and walked to a desk. She picked up a document and handed it to him. Kevin could not read the words, but he recognized official seals and signatures. This is my gift to you, Nari said. Since you will not accept riches or power, what is it? Protection. For your world. Earth is now under the shield of the Valorian Empire. No one may claim it. No one may raid it. No one may harm its people. Any who try will face my full wrath. Kevin stared at the document. You are protecting my entire planet? Because of me? Because of what you showed me. If one human can do what you did, I wonder what your whole species might become. You are young. You are primitive. But you have something rare. Something valuable. I will not let others destroy that before you have a chance to grow. Kevin did not know what to say. He had come here hoping only to survive and go home. Now he was leaving with his whole world under the protection of the greatest power in the galaxy. Thank you, he managed. Nair, I waved her hand. Do not thank me yet. There is one more matter to discuss. My daughter. Kevin's heart dropped. He had been waiting for this. She loves you, Nari said bluntly. I do not say this to scare you or trap you. I say it because it is true. I see it in her eyes. I hear it in her voice. For the first time in centuries, my daughter cares about something other than duty. Kevin did not deny it. He could not. I cannot tell you what to do, Nari continued. You are not my subject. But I will tell you this. If you go home and never return, Yuna will survive. She is strong. She will continue her duties. She will live for many more centuries. But she will never be the same. The light I have seen in her these past weeks will fade. And I do not know if it will ever return. Kevin stood. His legs felt weak. What do you want me to do? Nari smiled sadly. I want you to choose. Whatever that choice is. Just choose with your whole heart. That is all anyone can ask. Kevin left the Empress's chambers in a daze. He walked through the palace without seeing where he was going. Eventually, he found himself in a garden. Real plants grew here from dozens of different worlds. The air smelled sweet. Yuna was waiting for him. She sat on a bench beneath a tree with golden leaves. She looked up when he approached. My mother spoke to you, she said. It was not a question. Yes, and you are leaving. Kevin sat beside her. I have to, Yuna. Earth is my home. My life is there. Yuna nodded. She did not cry. She did not argue. She just looked at him with those beautiful alien eyes. I understand, she said softly. I always knew this would happen. I just hoped. She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Kevin reached out and took her hand. Come with me? Yuna's eyes went wide. What? Come with me. To Earth, to Montana, to my cabin in the mountains. I cannot. I am a princess. I have duties, responsibilities. My people need me? Do they? Or do they just expect you? Kevin squeezed her hand. You told me about your life. 800 years of meetings and ceremonies and politics. When was the last time you were happy? Really happy? Yuna opened her mouth, then closed it. She did not have an answer. You saved my life, Kevin said. You sat with me when I was dying. You fought for me in front of your mother's court. That is not duty. That is not obligation. That is something else. Tears finally came to Yuna's eyes. I cannot just leave. My mother would never allow it. Maybe, maybe not. But is it not worth asking? Una stared at him. Then she laughed. It was a strange sound, half joy and half pain. You are impossible, Kevin Park. You fight pirates and challenge empresses, and now you want me to abandon my whole life for a cabin in the woods. I want you to choose. With your whole heart. Whatever that choice is. Una was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was steady. I need to speak to my mother. Kevin returned to Earth alone. The journey took only hours with Valorian technology. They dropped him in his own field, behind his own cabin. The ship rose into the sky and vanished, leaving him standing in the grass he had walked 1,000 times before. Everything was the same. The cabin, the mountains, the stream, the sky. It was as if nothing had changed, but everything had changed. He had changed. The weeks passed slowly. Kevin fixed cars. He cut firewood. He watched the stars at night. He tried not to hope. He told himself that Una had her own life, that she would make the right choice for herself, that he would be fine either way. He almost believed it. Then, one evening, as autumn turned the leaves to golden red, a light appeared in the sky. It descended slowly, gently, landing in the field where the pirate ship had landed months before. Kevin walked outside. His heart was pounding. The hatch opened. A figure stepped out. It was Una, but she looked different. She wore simple human clothes, jeans, a sweater, boots. Her crown was gone. Her silver dress was gone. She carried only a small bag. I did it, she said. Her voice shook. I spoke to my mother. I gave up my place in the succession. I am no longer a princess. Kevin stared at her. You did not have to do that. I know. She walked toward him. That is why I did. She stopped in front of him. Close enough to touch. Close enough to feel the warmth of her despite her cool skin. I have lived for 800 years, she said. I have seen wonders you cannot imagine. But I have never felt what I feel when I am with you. I have never been so scared. Or so happy. Or so alive. Kevin reached out and touched her face. It was cool and smooth and perfect. What did your mother say? Una smiled. She said she understood. She said she was proud of me. She said if I ever need anything, she's only a call away. She laughed. She also said that if you hurt me, she will personally turn your planet into dust. Kevin laughed too. Good to know. They stood there in the fading light. Two people from different worlds who had found something neither expected. A home, a purpose, a love that crossed the stars. So, Kevin said, what now? Una took his hand. Her fingers intertwined with his. Now we go inside. You make me that soup again. And we figure out the rest together. Kevin nodded. That sounds good to me. They walked toward the cabin. Behind them, the ship rose silently into the sky and disappeared. Ahead of them, the door stood open, and warm light spilled out onto the porch. They had a lot of work ahead of them. A lot of questions to answer. A lot of worlds between them to bridge. But for now, they had this moment. This place. Each other died, and that was enough. That was everything.